Hello and welcome to our Betfred Sports Talk here at Quiff Media Network. I'm Katie, the one of Peter Spencer. How are you doing today, Peter?
Yeah, great, thanks very much.
So, there's been some kind of crazy games in football this weekend. First of all, we'll talk about United last night, because that was a bit mental, wasn't it, Peter, for them? I know it was a long game, went extra time, penalties, crazy game for them, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, they dug in. I suppose lots of United fans wouldn't have banked on De Gea winning the shootout. Didn't actually win it because it was a Brighton player who blazed it over the bar, wasn't it? But I thought it was funny how we kept going to his bag and looking at all the ways that they were going to shoot and then diving the opposite way. So, I mean, he was fumbling around with his gloves on. You think they'd write it on one sheet of paper, such a body, he's going to play it to the right or straight on. But I thought that was a bit weird. But anyway, their goalkeeper, he used to play at Rochdale, and he was involved in a shootout, a game I saw actually between Rochdale and United United won that one as well. So he's had a double blow against United. But it was quite a spectacle, wasn't it? Lots of people were taken in by that game for sure. It was just spectacular. It does show that United do have some character to keep in that game and keep it scoreless until that. But I've got to say it was a good day for Betfred. We won't be paying out on the 90-minute result and also the first goal scorer. So on one occasion, Betfred proved a winner on that.
Yeah, great news for you guys, isn't it? And in the City game, they won as well, making it a kind of good setup now for the derby. What do you think of that game there, Peter?
Well, that was one where Betfred lost lots because it was clearly that City would go on and win that.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people, believe it or not, on Mahrez for a hat-trick. So that was a 50-1 shot. Wow. So you only need to put a tenner on that and your quid's in. But those goals that Mahrez scores were excellent. But what I did think was interesting was one of them, I think it was the second one, where he just went right down the middle and people were just expecting him to pass it to you-know-who, Haaland, who was taking away 2 or even 3 players. And it just opened up for him, and it just shows you can get an assist without actually touching the ball. Because that's what happened there. He just dragged all the defence away because they assumed that he would pass to him, and he didn't. He just went on and scored. And
they're looking like a great team at the minute, City. They're on track to maybe win the treble. What do you think of that there?
Well, the Betfred odds on City treble are now 6-4,
wow,
which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
They're the shortest odds we've ever had for a treble. So the City have got to beat Real Madrid in the semi-final of the Champions League and Arsenal on Wednesday at the Etihad. So, but the 6-4, I mean, they're in just tremendous form.
Yeah.
The players they bring on, the difference with City is when they bring a player on, it improves the performance, or it can improve the performance. Whereas other teams, they're just looking, they're going to replace people with injury. City bring players on just to liven things up a bit, or keep people fresh in the squad. So you do wonder whether Guardiola actually knows what his best 11 is, but maybe he just changes it for whoever the opposition are. So City are 6-4 with us to go on and win the treble, and match Manchester United achievement in 1999. I noticed that Ten Hag is saying that he's going to do his utmost to stop City achieving that in the final in June.
We'll see.
Final. Yeah, we'll see.
We don't want to see it.
So so City, just to win the Premier League, Betfred have them at 1-4 now. So you can see the odds are shown in there. Arsenal 3-1. They just keep drawing and therefore losing 2 points. For a top 4 finish, well, Newcastle, after that tremendous victory over Tottenham, they're now 1-6, so ahead of United at 1-8. Brighton 5-1. Liverpool 11-2. Tottenham, well, on the drift now, 14-1, as are Aston Villa at 50-1. So it is looking like those 2 odds-on teams, the 2 Uniteds, Manchester and Newcastle, will get those 2 top 4 finish slots behind City and Arsenal. And in relegation, well, it's still very tight at the bottom. Southampton look like they're gone now. They're 1-10 to be relegated. Nottingham Forest 1-6. Everton 5-6. So at the moment we think it's those 3. Leeds not winning, but the others are losing as well. So they're 6-4. Leicester 13-8, and Bournemouth 10-1.
Wow, and of course City play Arsenal this week. Have you got any odds for that game there, Peter?
Yeah, in this particular game, City naturally the favourites, only for the excellent form as opposed to Arsenal's sort of faltering form, and they're at home. So City are 8-15 to win that game. Arsenal 9-2. Betfred have the draw at 7-2. Haaland, well, he's predictably the 2-1 favourite to score the first goal in that game. Betfred have Alvarez 7-2, Foden 6-1, Mahrez, who's obviously in great form after his hat-trick at the weekend, he's 6-1. Jesus to score against his old club, he's 8-1. De Bruyne 9-1, Grealish 10-1. And a lot of people are already getting the bets on for the actual scoreline. The most popular scoreline bet amongst City fans, or people who think of City fans because they're from the Greater Manchester area, that's 2-0 for City, which is 7-1, and Arsenal, they're Arsenal supporters, London-based people, they're going for 2-1 for Arsenal, which is a 14-1 shot. But one of the best bets from the weekend was the Mahrez hat-trick.
Yeah, sounds like it was.
Yeah, that was a 50-1 shot at Betfred. And we had lots of people up and down the country, some of which I've already interviewed. One person from Haywood, for instance, who were having a fiver on, £10 and your quid's in with that, aren't you?
Yeah, sounds fantastic. What a great game that'll be this week as well. And in the Betfred Super League, it seems to actually break at the minute. But St Helens beat Warrington recently, so they're still favourites at the minute, aren't they, Peter?
Yeah, it was great for St Helens to go on and win that game. They were been struggling for form of late, but they came good in that particular one. There was quite an interesting story from Conrad Hurrell. He's a Tongan centre. He scored the first try for St Helens to set up the victory, and afterwards he said he was the fastest fat boy in town in his tweet. It's quite hilarious, really.
Yeah.
I'm the fastest fat guy. So anyway, that's an interesting aside. Anyway, he led, him and Lomax basically played exceptionally well for St Helens in that one. That's Warrington, after the blistering start, now been defeated twice on the bounce, but they have been against Wigan and now St Helens, so you can kind of expect that to a degree. But their coach Darryl Powell said that he was looking at those 3 games, because previously that they played Catalans and beat them, to see where they were this season. He said now he knows, ominously, for the squad there. So we've now got Helens beat Warrington. And also the other team in the mix that I've already mentioned there, Wigan, they didn't absolutely demolish Wakefield, but they still got the points. Now we've got new leaders of the Betfred Super League, which is Wigan Warriors.
Really?
They've just got ahead of
Peter's
Warrington. I keep saying that, but they're not my favourite team. They're the team that always seem to grind out wins. I much prefer the outgoing and the play of Warrington and St Helens, but as it happens. But so Wigan are now the favourites, just ahead of Warrington on same points, of course. And then we've got Salford Red Devils. They're in and amongst it. They're 5th now in the table.
Nice.
And they beat Catalan Dragons, which was a tremendous victory at the weekend. St Helens, well, they've gone from 8 to 6, so they're in the top half now after that victory against Warrington. And we've just got the odds now. Saints are 15-8, win the grand final, so still favourites, 5 on the bounce, of course. Wigan, they're 9-4, second favourites. Warrington 10-3. Of the other teams in our vicinity, we've got Salford 33-1 shots, and Lee, you surprised a few, the new boys in the league, they're 66-1 with Betfred to go on and win the grand final.
Amazing stuff, thank you very much. If you do fancy a bet, you can bet in Betfred stores, online and via the app as well.